And welcome back, faithful listeners, to tonight's episode of Legendary Americans. I, of course, am your host, Mike Horvath. Now, with tonight on this very beautiful evening being the Tuesday before Memorial Day 2013, we have specially dedicated tonight's program to the theme of World War II veterans. And with our theme of World War II veterans, the subject of our show will be a special once-in-a-lifetime interview with a Mr. William F. Schlenner. Now, Mr. Schlenner is not only a World War II serving veteran, but in addition, he is a near centurion at 95 and soon to be 96 years old, living in Tampa, Florida. And we're broadcasting to you live tonight for our show from the home of Mr. William F. Schlenner, live here in New Tampa. Sir, welcome.
Glad to help you out.
So, Mr. Schlenner, what is your current age and occupation?
I'm 95 years old and retired.
So now, where were you born in and which year?
I was born in Allentown, Pennsylvania, the year 1917. The year that USA entered a war in Europe, I think World War I.
Now then, of course you grew up during the Great Depression, so now, what exactly was that like around that time?
Well, you didn't have much money. You couldn't move around that well. Teenagers didn't have cars like they have today. And the only ones that went to college were the sons and daughters of doctors and lawyers and professional people. The poor people, it's very seldom they got a chance to go to college. And usually, if they got to high school, that was about it. You try to, everything you had, they try to make it last. So it was a little bit different.
What did you remember from the day that Hitler invaded Poland, echoing the start of World War II?
Actually, we were a little bit concerned, but everybody here thought, well, it's over there, let them fight it out, you know what I mean? The war didn't seem to affect it until it dragged on, and then when Hitler was getting victorious, like over Britain and Russia, then the people started getting a little bit more concerned, but until that time they said, well, we're not involved, let them fight their own battles.
Now, what exactly was your reaction upon learning of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in December of 1941?
Well, I was on my way to work at the steel company when I got the news on the radio, and I was horrified. But there was some inklings that there was going to be a war because Japan was buying all the scrap it could from all over the world, and we were actually shipping tons of scrap to Japan so they could build their tanks and stuff. And their boldness was starting to come across that they were going to pick a fight with the U.S.
Now, what were some of your most memorable experiences serving in the military?
I was taken to the U.S. Army Air Force. I was a radio operator for the generals, colonels, and all the people that are traveling around buying parts for the Army and the Air Force. I was traveling all over the country with these generals and colonels and members of the cabinet too. Secretary of War for Air Patterson, also a famous general, Curtis LeMay, later the chief of the Strategic Air Force. I traveled all over the country with him, scaring up parts for the B-29, what's in the process of being built.
Did you ever get the opportunity to actually see President Franklin Roosevelt in person?
When the dignitaries came, all the rest of us marched in the band in the procession. And one day we marched there, and lo and behold, who's in this touring car but FDR? And he went right by us, and he stopped a while, and he shouted we were part of the entourage. 10 feet away, it was directly straight across from it.
Do you believe that President Truman made the right decision by dropping the atomic bombs on Japan?
Absolutely. It would have been a big bloodbath if he would have made that invasion. So, fortunately, I know he made the right decision. We would have lost maybe a couple million men trying to make that invasion in Japan.
Were you awarded any honors or awards for your service in the wartime?
A Bronze Star and a Presidential Unit Citation.
Mr. Schlenner, thank you for being on our show tonight.
I think it was a pleasure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes tonight's episode of our show. Until next time, keep on living the red, white,